Hello there, I'm Muhammed Ahmad Hamdan and this is Nightline, the top stories. FMOS launched as Centralized Dispute Resolution Centre. And Madani Book Voucher Scheme may be extended to teachers. Good morning. A new mechanism has been introduced to provide a streamlined approach to dispute resolution, including victims of scammers who face disputes with banks and insurance companies. Earlier today, Bank Negara Malaysia and the Securities Commission launched the Financial Markets Ombudsman Service, FMOS, which allows disputes involving amounts under 250,000 ringgit to be resolved free of charge without the need to go to court. FMOS was established following 2.3 million complaints recorded by the financial industry over the past 5 years, including from victims of various scams. A significant 98% of consumer complaints involve banks and insurance companies.
In recent years, about a quarter of the regulatory standards that we issue are focused on conduct matters. This reflects our efforts to continuously raise the bar on how we expect financial institutions to ensure that they deal fairly with their customers.
FMOS functions as an alternative to the judicial system, offering independent mediation and adjudication services. Its unified framework is designed to provide a faster and more consistent resolution, benefiting financial consumers and investors across Malaysia.
It's free of charge. Tak guna bayar apa-apa untuk menfailkan satu komplain kepada FMOS. Perkara kedua adalah orang dalam FMOS mendengar komplain mereka.
However, complaints related to rising insurance premium costs do not fall under the jurisdiction of FMOS. Malaysia is actively exploring investment potential in the renewable energy sector, driven by rapidly growing regional demand. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim stated that as ASEAN chair, Malaysia will advance the agenda of enhancing regional energy cooperation through the ASEAN power grid. According to Anwar, integrating Thailand's and Laos's energy grids must be implemented to establish a broader network. This is in addition to exporting Sarawak's hydroelectric power to Singapore. These efforts represent a major step forward in enhancing energy security and advancing the clean energy transition in the global south.
For TNB with other players, we've been entrusted with that responsibility to conduct research to explore new avenues, and particularly in the area of renewable energy.
Anwar said this at the launch of Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB's Eastfield and Bunkers Hill solar farms in London, United Kingdom. The two solar farms, with a combined capacity of 102 megawatts, are expected to begin operations early this year. Now, Anwar also visited the Malaysia-owned Battersea Power Station, which is the country's largest investment involving public funds in the UK. The regeneration project is one of the largest in Europe and also stands as a landmark achievement for Malaysian companies. During the visit, Anwar was also given a briefing on the progress of the 16.97-hectare project in central London, which is being developed by a consortium of 4 Malaysian companies. Anwar highlighted that the well-developed infrastructure in the area has the potential to attract higher investment returns in the future. The Battersea Power Station project also features the development of more than 4,000 new homes and 3.5 million square feet of commercial space. The iconic landmark has welcomed over 24 million visitors since opening its doors to the public following its transformation in October 2022. Earlier, the Prime Minister attended a roundtable meeting in London with the UK's captains of industry and corporate leaders from various sectors. This included strategic areas such as petroleum and gas, aerospace, education and automotive. The one-hour meeting, held in conjunction with Anwar's 5-day working visit to the UK, involved 30 high-potential companies, including Standard Chartered plc and Raw Energy. This session is seen as crucial for renewing and exploring new economic partnership opportunities with Malaysia. On another matter, Anwar said Malaysia will seek to rejuvenate key mechanisms like the ASEAN Plus 3 and the East Asia Summit, EAS, as they remain underutilized. He said this on Friday when speaking about Malaysia's role as the chair of ASEAN 2025 in his lecture titled The Adaptive Edge, Malaysia's Global Strategy in an Uncertain Era at the London School of Economics, LSE.
Instead of getting bogged down by the disputes of major powers, we would rather work with the like-minded member states and dialogue partners to seek ways on how such mechanisms can deliver on its aspirations.
Anwar also dismissed speculation that Malaysia is pivoting towards China and moving away from the United States based on the increased business dealings with China. He added that he wanted to maintain good ties with both superpower nations by being pragmatic in safeguarding the economy, especially given the heightened volatility globally. Earlier, Anwar officiated the Malaysia Auditorium in the Centre building at the LSE, which was completed in June 2019 and made possible through contributions from the Alumni Society of Malaysia. Moving on, the Education Ministry MOE plans to expand the Madani book voucher program for school students to include educators following its successful implementation. Its Minister Fadlina Siddiq stated that the proposal will be presented at the upcoming cabinet meeting. According to Fadlina, the Madani Book Voucher Initiative, announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim in May last year, has achieved a 100% redemption rate, benefiting 3.5 million students and pupils.
Kita akan angkat satu nota Jemaah Menteri minggu depan dalam kabinet untuk melaporkan. Pertama adalah soal kejayaan voucher buku pada tahun lepas yang telah pun mencapai penebusan 100%. Dan ini adalah kejayaan yang cukup besar dan ia tidak mudah, tetapi kita berjaya laksanakan dengan hasil komitmen daripada semua pihak, guru terutamanya.
She told this to the media at SK Seri Tasik in Nibong Tebal, Pulau Pinang on Friday after the launch of the state-level 2025 Early Schooling Aid presentation ceremony. Fadlina also said that the value of the book vouchers for teachers will be determined during discussions with the Finance Ministry. Under the book voucher program, primary school pupils, Year 4 and above, receive a voucher worth 50 ringgit, while secondary school and tertiary level students, such as those in Form 6, vocational colleges and teacher education institutes, receive a voucher worth 100 ringgit. Police raided a drug processing laboratory and seized cocaine and chemicals worth 8 million ringgit during 3 separate raids in the capital last Wednesday. A drug cook who holds dual passports from Hong Kong and Britain was also arrested during the operation. Authorities are investigating whether the laboratory is linked to Latin American drug cartels or other syndicates specializing in cocaine processing and distribution. Bukit Aman Narcotic Crime Investigation Department NCID Director Datuk Seri Kor Kok Chin on Friday said that the 27-year-old cook is believed to have entered Malaysia as a tourist using a social visit pass on January 3rd. He was detained while wheeling 4 boxes on a trolley containing liquid and chunks believed to be cocaine at an establishment in the Kuala Lumpur Industrial Centre on Jalan Kelang Lama. The suspect then led police to another location in the area where chemicals and equipment believed to be used in processing cocaine were found.
Dia sebagai tukang masak ya, dibayar ringgit 5,000 sebulan. Jadi dia punya belah sini punya dia punya orang kata lalang dia tu ada yang upah dia buat tu sebab dia ada knowledge berkenaan dengan memasak tu. Jadi dari segi itu kita tengah siasat dia punya connection, dia punya link tu.
On the same night, police conducted another raid in Segambut and seized more chemicals used to process the drugs. Kor added that the syndicate has been active since December, with the drugs believed to be intended for distribution in both the local and international markets. The suspect has been remanded for 7 days until January 22nd to facilitate further investigations. In Johor, a drug distribution syndicate has been dismantled following the arrest of 4 individuals by police, along with the seizure of drugs valued at over 4 million ringgit. The drugs weighing more than 24 kilograms were seized during separate raids on 2 luxury condominiums in Johor Bahru last week. State Police Chief Dato' M. Kumar stated that those arrested included 2 local men suspected of being the masterminds behind the drug operation and 2 women believed to be Vietnamese, all aged between 20 and 30. The syndicate, which was active for the past 4 months, is believed to have obtained the drugs from the northern region of the country.
MO syndicate ini modus operandi syndicate ini adalah menjadikan kondominium apartmen mewah sebagai tempat penyimpanan atau storage dan juga tempat pembungkusan semula.
During the raids on January 10th and 11th, police seized various types of drugs, including ecstasy powder, ketamine and RM8 pills. The packaging used for the drugs, which were distributed around Johor Bahru, was different from previous ones to deceive authorities. The seizures also included drug repackaging equipment, a car, jewelry and cash. All the suspects tested negative for drugs. However, one of them has a prior criminal record. They have been remanded for 7 days until January 24th to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. A factory producing adhesive tape in the Perai industrial area was destroyed in a fire on Friday evening. No casualties were reported in the incident. The incident reportedly occurred around 4 p.m. while factory operators were on duty. All operators and personnel were then safely evacuated. Some 100 firefighters from the State Fire and Rescue Department were deployed to the site, with volunteer fire squads also assisting in the operation. According to the Pulau Pinang Fire and Rescue Department, the fire involved a single-story factory covering approximately 6,000 square feet, affecting the storage, office and operational sections. As of 8 p.m., about 60% of the building had been destroyed. The fire had been brought under control in 2 areas, covering the operational and storage sections, while firefighting efforts were still ongoing, involving the office and laboratory sections. The cause of the fire and total damages incurred are still under investigation. Business news. Malaysia's economic growth is expected to come in at 5.1% in 2024, picking up from a 3.6% growth in 2023, according to preliminary estimates from the Department of Statistics. The growth is supported by strong domestic demand and a recovering external sector. The country's gross domestic product GDP grew 4.8% in the 4th quarter from a year earlier, slowing from the 5.3% rate in the previous quarter. During this period, the construction sector saw a significant surge of 19.6%. The department said the economic performance was also supported by strategic investments in areas such as renewable energy and digital infrastructure, including data centers.
Money Matters kicks off 2025 with a brand new season and a sharp focus on the year ahead. What's driving growth, where the risks lie, and how businesses can seize opportunities. Global trends, market shifts, and strategies that matter. Muhammed Ahmad Hamdan speaks with economist Loong Chee Wei this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
The World Bank on Thursday warned that US across-the-board tariffs of 10% could reduce the already lackluster global economic growth of 2.7% in 2025 by 0.3 percentage point if America's trading partners retaliate with tariffs of their own. The World Bank said simulations using a global macroeconomic model showed a 10 percentage point increase in US tariffs on all trading partners in 2025 would reduce global growth by 0.2 percentage point for the year, and proportional retaliation by other countries could worsen the hit to growth. It said those estimates were consistent with outside studies which showed a 10-point increase in US tariffs could reduce the level of US GDP by 0.4%, while retaliation from trading partners would increase the total negative impact to 0.9%. Earlier, US President-elect Donald Trump, who takes office Monday, has proposed a 10% tariff on global imports, a 25% punitive duty on imports from Canada and Mexico until they clamp down on drugs and migrants crossing borders into the US, and a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. Some countries, including Canada, have already vowed to retaliate. Malaysia dominates at India Open as 5 pairs storm into semi-finals. Sports after this breather.
Dah berapa bulan tertunggak ni, macam mana mak nak bayar?
Mak betul ke nak gadaikan cincin kahwin mak ni?
Ini yang tinggal lagi, Indra.
Kita usaha. Nak kita tolong.
Okey. Terima kasih semua. Kejap.
Nah, buat bekal.
Terima kasih, Bang.
Sama. Pulang.
Tahniah, anda layak ke peringkat seterusnya.
Setiap cabaran pasti ada kejayaan kalau kita terus usaha.
Saksikan perjalanan peserta-peserta ke episoda One in a Million setiap Ahad 9 malam di TV3.
Saya pernah di body shaming. Dulu saya gemuk. And then pernah juga saya dikatakan bahawa kau tidak boleh jadi seorang penyanyi sebab kau buruk, sebab kau tidak cantik. Dan itu sebenarnya menjadi trauma kepada saya sehinggalah sekarang. Buruk gemuk is only what people say towards me. Saya sangat ditindas. Like no one wants to friend me dulu. Dan dulu banyak juga macam bila kita kena panggil menyanyi, tidak orang pandang. Because you look like that.
We're back with sports. Badminton, the 2025 India Open. It was a good day for Malaysia after all of our quarter-finalists were victorious in the tournament, beating their respective opponents to reach the last 4 on Friday. In the women's doubles, Pearly Tan and M. Tina showed nerves of steel as they edged out Malaysia Open champions Yuki Fukushima, Mayu Matsumoto 21-18, 21-19. Awaiting them in the semi-final will be Kim Hae-jeong, Kong Hee-young of South Korea. Meanwhile, men's doubles, Aaron Chia and So Woo-yik staved off strong resistance from Thai pair Dechapol Pavaranukro, Kitinupong Kedren before securing a 21-18, 21-18 win in 39 minutes. The duo will play South Korean scratch pair Kim Won-ho, Seo Seung-jae next. Another men's duo Gozife, Nur Izzuddin Muhammad Rumsani reached the last four in style, disposing Taiwanese twins Li Fangqi, Li Fangzhen in straight games of 21-11, 21-17. In the semi-final, the nation top pair will meet the winners of the match between South Korea's Jin Yong Kang Min-hyuk and home pair Satwik Sairaj Rankiredi Chairak Shetty. The other pairs in the last four are mixed doubles pairs Go Sun-hwa, Chevan Jemilai and Chen Tangjie, To Yi-wei, with both pairs defeating their opponents in straight sets. Moving on to football, the Malaysia Cup, Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanafi scored a brace as Johor Darul Takzim JDT thrashed Terengganu FC 4-0 away in the first leg of their semi-final clash on Friday night. The visitors wasted no time, taking the lead in the 17th minute through Romel Morales' header. The Southern Tigers upped their tempo and eventually doubled their advantage when Arif Aiman slotted home in the 79th minute. The sensational youngster then added to the host's misery just 6 minutes later when he scored his second goal, JDT's third of the night. Finally, Bergson da Silva sealed the win in stoppage time, completing the 4-0 rout for JDT. With the result, Hector Bidolio's men now are one step closer to reaching the final with a comfortable 4-0 aggregate lead. Still on football, the English Premier League, Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim has challenged Ahmad Diallo to keep improving despite his match-winning heroics in the Red Devils' thrilling 3-1 comeback win against Southampton on Friday.
We have to be careful with the young kids. It was a really good job today. He has a lot to improve. But this game is in the past. We need to prepare the future in the game. In football, the life is like this. So, congratulations to him, to all the team. He enjoyed tonight. It's a very good moment and he needs to appreciate these moments. But tomorrow he's going to recover and we have to prepare the next game.
Earlier at Old Trafford, Southampton took the lead just before half-time after Manuel Ugarte accidentally turned the ball into his own net. Ivan Juric's men looked to be holding on for a famous victory before a late Diallo hat-trick rescued the win for the Red Devils. The Ivorian winger struck in the 82nd, 90th and 94th minutes to secure the 3-1 victory as well as the much-needed 3 points. The result means that United win for the first time in 5 league matches and rise to 12th in the league standings. And turning to tennis now, the 2025 Australian Open, Novak Djokovic stepped up a level in his third-round match against Thomas Mahach on Friday, edging out the Czech in straight sets to reach the second week at Melbourne Park for the 17th time. The 37-year-old 7th seed, however, had to concede a few games in the first 2 rounds before brushing aside the Czech 6-1, 6-4, 6-4 in more than 2 hours. Up next, the Serbian will meet another Czech, Jiri Lehečka, for a place in the quarterfinals. In another match, second seed Alexander Zverev continued his campaign with a convincing 6-3, 6-4, 6-4 against Jacob Fernley. The 27-year-old German will next face Hugo Humbert of France in the 4th round. Joining them was Carlos Alcaraz Garcia, who edged out Portuguese Nuno Borges 6-2, 6-4, 6-7, 6-2. Up next, the Spaniard is set to face the winner of the match between Jack Draper and Australian Alexander Vukic. Israel approves Gaza ceasefire deal. The details when Nightline returns.
Dulu saya orang yang sangat anak ayah. Jadi ayah yang always, Mariam, you have to do this, you can do this, you can do that. Jadi bila arwah ayah tak ada, benda tu sebenarnya I lost my biggest support. Saya cakap dengan diri saya, Mariam, teruskan fight dan perjuangkan apa yang sebenarnya Mariam nak dari dulu. Dan percayalah, rezeki itu tak pernah salah alamat.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Gadget lebih banyak keburukan atau kebaikan?
Kita tetapkan masa untuk mereka tapi kita sendiri pun gadget 24 jam.
Masa makan dan sebagainya kena fokus lah. Gadget kena letak tepi.
Pendedahan skrin terlalu awal boleh melambatkan perkembangan kanak-kanak.
Mungkin ramai tidak tahu sebenarnya anak-anak 18 bulan ke bawah tidak digalakkan langsung untuk bermain gadget.
Skrin dan perkembangan kanak-kanak, diskusinya di Hello Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. Onto the foreign front. Israel's Security Cabinet on Friday has ratified a ceasefire deal to exchange dozens of hostages held by Hamas for Palestinians in Israeli jails and pause the 15-month war for an initial 6 weeks. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said the approval came after an unexpected delay that sparked fears that last-minute disagreements between Israel and Hamas could scuttle the agreement. The deal will now be presented to the cabinet for final approval, allowing the agreement to be implemented on Sunday with the release of the first hostages and prisoners. Under the first phase of the deal, Hamas has agreed to release 33 hostages, including children, women, and those aged over 50. In exchange, Israel would release 50 Palestinian prisoners for every female Israeli soldier released by Hamas and 30 for other female hostages. However, despite the ceasefire deal being announced, Zionist warplanes kept up heavy strikes in Gaza on Friday, with authorities saying that at least 101 Palestinians had been killed so far. A growing number of lawmakers are urging President Joe Biden to grant a reprieve to prevent TikTok from going dark in the United States as soon as Sunday, warning millions of creators and businesses could be hurt. Democratic Senator Ed Markey urged a measured approach on Thursday, stating that they are requesting the opportunity to resolve this issue rationally to ensure that TikTok does not go dark. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, meanwhile, spoke to Biden, urging him to extend by 90 days a deadline for Chinese owner ByteDance to sell TikTok U.S. assets and prevent a ban of the app used by 170 million Americans. A White House official, however, said the next administration will handle the January 19th deadline as it falls before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. Biden had not previously planned an extension. Congress in April ordered ByteDance to sell TikTok within 270 days, citing national security concerns. In another development, investigators found bird feathers and blood in both engines of the Jeju Air jet that crashed in South Korea last month, killing 179 people. According to South Korean authorities on Friday, about 4 minutes before the fatal crash, one of the pilots reported a bird strike and declared an emergency before initiating a go-around and attempting to land on the opposite end of the runway. Just 2 minutes prior to the pilot's Mayday emergency call, Air Traffic Control had also issued a warning about bird activity in the area. The Boeing plane, which departed from the Thai capital Bangkok from Muan County in southwestern South Korea, belly landed and overshot the regional airport's runway, bursting into flames after hitting an embankment. And lastly, Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan was on Friday sentenced to 14 years in prison and his wife Bushra Bibi to 7 years in a case related to the misuse of authority and corruption involving Khan's Al-Qadir University Project Trust. Han was also given a fine of $3,500, while Bibi was fined half that amount. The charge sheet accused Han and his wife of acquiring land worth millions of $, for the Al Qadir Trust from Malik Riaz, a prominent property tycoon in Pakistan, to establish a non-profit educational institute for the poor. Prosecutors allege that the trust was a front for Han to illegally receive land from a real estate developer.
3, 2, we have liftoff.
Most engines cut off, down to those wheels for that boom.
Down to 3 NGU from
the ship.
And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as tourists gather in central Bangkok to witness an underwater dragon dance performance as Thailand geared up for its annual Lunar New Year celebrations. With that, I'm Muhammed and Hamdan. Thanks for watching and stay safe.